Before we dive into the depths of darkness and this chilling tale, if you enjoy these mysterious journeys, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to join the Night Dailies family. Also, if you have your own unexplained stories, share them with us. The comments now. If you're ready, let's begin. My name is Selim, and I am currently 36 years old. What I am about to tell you has no explanation within the labyrinths of modern science, nor can it be understood through the limits of human reason. Throughout my life, I defined myself as a rational mana, land surveyor who believed only in concrete, tangible facts. But 3 years ago, during a routine field assignment in a remote mountain village in Anatolia, I learned a brutal truth. The soul is an imprint far older and more permanent than flesh and bone, and sometimes it carries a terrifying seal. What you are about to read is a transcription of audio files taken from the records of the forensic psychiatrist who treated me for months, combined with the bloody truths I uncovered from that village's faded population registries. It all began at the suffocating end of summer in 2023, in the barren steppes between Kasarian Sivasin, an ancient, isolated settlement cut off by steep cliffs known as Kuyuönü. The exact moment I entered that village for the mapping project, a heavy, suffocating sense of familiarity washed over me and experience I had never felt before. The air carried a sinister scent of vinegar and rotting wood. The air I breathed, the dusty earth I stepped on, the layout of the mud brick houses, it was as if I knew this place, millimeter by millimeter. Most terrifying of all was that, despite it being my first time there, I could find the dead-end alleys and know exactly which well hid behind which door, as if guided by an invisible hand. My team and I were hosted by the village elder, old Elias, a local blacksmith by trade. The moment Elias saw me at his doorstep, the tea glass slipped from his hand and shattered on the ground, standing amidst the broken glass. His eyes widened in sheer terror. His lips trembled as he whispered a single name. Sali. My name is Selim, I said, trying to mask the sudden wave of confusion in my voice. The old man said nothing more. He simply began rubbing his palms together, frantically reciting ancient prayers of protection. Under his breath, that night, as we stayed in the village guest room, the tension began to climb in a slow, calculated rhythm, exactly at 2 a.m. While the freezing step wind rattled the window panes, I jolted awake from a deep sleep. My consciousness was fully intact, but my body refused to obey me. I stood up from the bed, moved by an invisible force that seemed to control my limbs for me, barefoot. I walked out of the room and into the pitch-black village square. My steps led toward an abandoned, ancient, dot mansion surrounded by high stone walls at the edge of the village. This was the blacksmith's mansion, sealed off in the 1950s. After a horrific incident of mass madness, before I could even touch them, the rusty chains on the gates unraveled on their own with a deafening metallic screech, thought as if they had been waiting for this exact moment for decades. The moment I stepped inside, the heavy stench of vinegar burned my throat. In the center of the ground floor stood a massive oak dowry chest, covered in a thick layer of dust. Intricate geometric patterns and 7 human eye symbols were carved into the wood with crimson threads. At that exact moment, inside my mind, the walls of a memory that did not belong to my current life collapsed with a roar. I had lived in this house. In 1956, in this very room, I was Salia, 22-year-old blacksmith, whose that chest was cut open by his own brother before being locked inside this chest to die alive. As a paralyzing terror gripped my soul, the lid of the chest began to creak open, pushed by a force from within. The interior was pitch black. But from that darkness to pitch black, decaying hands with inverted fingernails reached upward. The voice rising from the chest was too deep, hollow, and raspy to belong to a human. But the most horrifying part was that the voice was an exact replica of my own. I was speaking to myself. You came back, Sully. Your flesh has changed. Your name has changed, but your debt remains. The earth vomits back what it swallows. You are here to finish the incomplete stitch. In that moment, a paranormal force dragged me toward the chest. My knees buckled backward, my elbows twisted in. Reverse, completely defying human anatomy. I crawled on all fours like a beast toward the edge of the chest. The corpse inside was my own past self. In its hand, it held an ancient, triangular amulet wrapped in 3 layers of oilcloth, stitched together with human hair. That decaying hand began to forcefully press the amulet against my current chest, right over my heart. I heard the horrifying sound of my own flesh melting away as if burned by a supernatural acid, peeling from the bone. I wanted to scream, "Let me go," but the only sounds escaping my mouth were those ancient, whispered reverse prayers. Just then, a collective whisper of all the shadows who had died in the villages. Dark history echoed through the mansions. Windows. They stood hand in hand, their backward-facing feet tapping against the glass as they watched the ritual unfold. There was nothing inside the eye sockets of my past corpse. A dark fluid flowing from those hollow, black voids dripped onto my current hands. In a desperate surge of survival instinct, I grabbed a heavy piece of a rusty iron anvil resting on a nearby table and smashed it into that rotting skull with a sickening crunch of shattering bone. The paranormal connection snapped for a fraction of a second, and I threw myself out of the window into the yellow, muddy steppe. The next morning, my team found me near the exit of the village cemetery, my bare feet bleeding and my sanity nearly gone. I was rushed to Kayseri and then to Istanbul. I underwent high-voltage shock therapy for days. I was officially written off as an acute hallucination case experienced in the field, and I quit my job. 3 years have passed. I am now in my own home, thousands of miles away from that village. But the reincarnation of the soul is not a blessing. It's an ancient curse. Every single night, at exactly 2 a.m., the creaking of that oak chest echoes from beneath my bedroom floor, and that sharp scent of vinegar fills the room. And do you want to know what the most terrifying part is? For the past few months, an old scar woven with crimson threads has been slowly appearing right in the center of my chest, directly over my heart. Every night, those stitches unravel just a little bit more, and inside my opening flesh, I can feel my past, decaying fingers eagerly reaching outward, waiting to drag me back in.